Fran, and I just wanted to go through the basics of APA in-text citations. In-text citations, just overall, just wanted to let you know that if you're having a little anxiety about citations, that's perfectly normal. Just a little bit of practice generally makes it a lot better. And in-text citations, I think, are the easier of the two. So I thought this is a good one to review. First thing that I want you to think about is an in-text citation is actually within a paragraph, a body paragraph typically, of your essay. It's going to come with either a quote or a paraphrase that you have in your essay. And I like you to think of it as basically an abbreviation of a longer reference, the longer reference citation that you'll find in your reference page. So every source that you use when you have a quote or a paraphrase, where you have that quote or paraphrase, are going to have a mini citation. And that's really because if people want to find out more about where you got that information, they'd look down on your reference page, at your reference page, to see all the further amount of information. So it's really just a mini citation, an abbreviation, if you will, for the longer citation that will come later. Basically, I want you to think, there's typically three things you need. You need the author's last name. You need the year of publication, and you need the page or paragraph number that you got your information from in that source. We'll talk in a little bit about what sort of scenarios exist if you don't have exactly this type of information, if you can't find it. There's three basic ways to arrange that information, those three pieces of information, and I'm going to show them to you. The first two are much more common. So let's take a look at this first one. Okay, number one. According to Godman, the executive editor of Harvard Health Letter, researchers at University of British Columbia observed that the size of the part of the brain associated with verbal memory and learning increases through regular aerobic exercise. So notice I have the author's name up front. Okay, let's give that a little highlight for you. And then I have the page, whoops, I don't know what I just did there. But I have the page and the paragraph numbers. The year of publication and the paragraph number at the end. Okay, notice the period comes after the end parentheses. So author's name up front before the paraphrase, and at the end of the paraphrase in parentheses I have the year and the paragraph number. Okay, let's look at example number two. Example number two. I have the author's last name up front before the quote, just like I have here. Okay, but here I've chosen to put the year of the publication in parentheses immediately following the author's last name. Okay, the third piece of information that I need is the page or paragraph number, and I put that following the quote. Notice there's no period on the inside of the quote, there's only one after the end parentheses, but you could break the information up like that. Or what you can do, scroll down to look at this third one. Okay, here you'll notice I didn't put the author's name. This is the same, I just copied and pasted number one so you could see how it'd be different. Here is the same paraphrase, but instead of putting the author's name, last name, before the paraphrase, I put it with the year and paragraph number following. Okay, now things to keep in mind. The author's name comes first, the year comes second, paragraph or page number comes third. Okay, if you had a page number, it would just be P period. But notice if you don't have one of those pieces of information in the parentheses, like the author's last name, you still follow that order. You have the author's last name, you pretended it was there, and then you have the year and the paragraph number. Okay, what ifs? What if you have there's different scenarios with the author? What if you have more than one author? Well, that's not very difficult. You still do something similar. Okay, let me have you look at this. So let's say you have two authors. You'd say Brown and Moore if the information was not in the parentheses, if you had it before the quote or the paraphrase, such as I have in example one up here, and two, I guess. Okay, I wrote out the word and. If you save the author's last name for the parentheses following, which is your choice, you wouldn't write out the word and, you'd use the and symbol. And again, we're just using their last names. Okay, if you had a third author, you could just, I'm trying to think of I'll put my last name in. You'd just add it like this. Actually, you wouldn't have the comma there. You'd have it like this, and if you had more than 3, then you end up doing something different. You'd put the words et al. But I would look that up if you had that specific of a case. Okay, what would you do if there's no author listed? Well, let's remember that your source, this in-text citation is supposed to just be an abbreviation of the longer reference page citation. So if you don't have the author's last name, then what you do is you put the first word or two in quotation marks in the place of the author. Specifically, you're usually going to find that following. Okay, so what I would have done here is I would have erased this and I would have put in quotes regular exercise, because those 2 words would distinguish the citation from any others in my reference page. If I had 2 that started with regular exercise, like if one was called regular exercise in the morning and one was called regular exercise in the evening, then you'd have to go with more words. But you only need 1 or 2 as long as it distinguishes that source from the others in the reference page. Okay, another what if. What if you have no date? Well, if you have no date, in the place where you would have the date, put ND. N period, D period stands for no date. Okay, and then the final thing I wanted to let you know is, well, when do you put page and when do you put a paragraph number? Well, typically you're going to put a page for a book and a paragraph number for an online source. Okay, remember page is, you're going to have P period for page. If it goes on more than 1 page, you put PP period. Okay, and then you would do that. Paragraph for online source. So if you're looking at a website, some sort of web document, and if they're not numbered, you have to literally count down how many paragraphs in from the top was it. Okay, so hopefully those basics help you. I will include this handout with the video, so if it helps you at all, you can take a look at it and print it out. But yeah, hopefully that helped you, and look soon for another screencast on